John is going to bring on the Dean of Pro Wrestling journalist. We know that's Dave Meltzer, and they're going to discuss the 1991 Survivor Series and its implications. And they're going to talk about a resurgent WCW, believe it or not, because as you know, Cactus was there and other good things were happening, and they were rebuilding after the loss of Ric Flair. They're going to talk about Ultimate Warrior rumors and a lot more. So let's get to this clip right now.
Survivor Series took place this past Wednesday night, Thanksgiving Eve. I was very disappointed with the show personally. I thought they could have done things a lot better, but then again, I usually do on a lot of things that the WWF does. I just thought that they really missed a great opportunity when they had Ric Flair in a match teaming up with Ted DiBiase, and they were going against Bret Hart, Piper, Virgil. I just thought that they missed the boat there as far as booking the end of that match, but we're going to bring on a wrestling expert, the guy that publishes what many consider the New York Times of professional wrestling, and it's Mr. Dave Meltzer, direct from Campbell, California. Dave, are you there?
I sure am. How you doing, John?
Good morning to you. Last night here in the Garden, Flair and Hogan, and first of all, pretty much the same deal that they did all the way around the country, and I know they were a little upset that I had brought you guys on, you and Wade, to talk about that first series of matches, kind of spoiling it for everybody here in New York, but it certainly didn't affect the crowd last night.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We all have our opinions about things like that.
Yeah. But we had a big week in wrestling this past week, Dave. Survivor Series took place, and that was at the Joe Louis Arena. Your personal opinions of the card?
I was pretty disappointed with it, really. It just didn't seem like there was anything particularly outstanding, and I think that the big focus was on the Hogan-Undertaker match, and I'm not really sure why, but I just thought it was a poor match.
Uh-huh.
It just didn't seem like either guy. I guess Hogan was hurt. I don't know if he was hurt after the, on the finishing move or during the match, but, it just didn't seem like they did anything. It was like they didn't do anything and they went to the finish.
Well, he certainly left the ring, whether it was a great acting job or not, but he left the ring like almost staggering. He was just really walking very slowly, and it was certainly believable if you were watching it on television. And then all the rumors that had come down the last couple of days regarding him being injured during that match, and there was so much talk about him not showing up for yesterday's Garden appearance. The rumors were going all over the place. But he was there last night, and I guess the injury wasn't as serious as people may have thought.
Yeah, well, he was definitely hospitalized Thursday night. But, they had a big advance for the Garden. They had a big advance for Philadelphia. And he's a pro, and he came, I think that was pretty much it.
Well, it was,
and, he had to work, he had to come back by Tuesday anyway. So,
yeah.
It's one of those things where you're in a certain position. Maybe that's why, he's, thought of the way he is, and Sid is thought of the way he is because maybe in the same situation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe Sid would have missed the pay-per-view, and maybe that's why Sid will never be the champion. I shouldn't say he'll never be, but maybe that'll probably be a factor that goes into it these days.
Well, certainly with Sid, he wanted to take time off to play softball a couple years ago and not even wrestle his commitments. But, I sat at second row ringside last night, and when Hogan did come out, I guess there was you could smell some type of ointment on him, something like Ben Gay, so maybe that was like trying to put a lot of that on there to relieve the muscle strain in his neck. But if Hogan is, we have to commend him here for going through with the match if he was injured like that. And, of course, Tuesday night coming up is a second pay-per-view event, the rematch with The Undertaker. And that should be an interesting scenario regardless of what happens there that night. There's all kinds of talk and speculation on what will happen. But personally, I don't think he's going to get the title back.
Well, we'll see. I hate to talk about something that hasn't happened yet in that way.
Yeah. So hopefully it'll be a good night of wrestling this coming Tuesday night, and we're looking forward to it. One thing, Dave, that watching the Survivor Series from the other night, I don't know if you have the same opinion of mine, but I really thought that that match with Flair and DiBiase, Mountie Warlord against Bulldog Virgil, Hart, and Piper, I really thought that that would be the best match of the night. Unfortunately, the finish of that, with all the guys getting disqualified, with the exception of Flair, was a real disappointment.
I agree with you there, and it was turning into a really strong match too, right when they did that.
Yeah.
They had guys in there. I don't even remember Bret Hart even being in that match, and maybe he's hurt too. You know, these guys are always banged up, and we only hear about it in the most severe cases.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the talent that was in there, not so much with Warlord and some of the other ones, but with Flair and DiBiase and Bret Hart and maybe Piper. You know, the talent was there to really put on a hot match, and it just seemed like they were just breaking in stride, and then they gave us that ending, which was just. I thought it was one of the worst endings of a match all year. You know, of any big match, and I think it was a night of bad endings, really, if you really get right onto it, because then the next match was like. With Duggan and those guys was like a go through the motions match. It didn't seem like anyone but the Berserker really cared, you know. And Tito Santana was the only one of the group that's really a wrestler,
yeah,
you know, or a good wrestler anyway.
It was torture
sitting
sitting through that.
Hogan and Undertaker, and those guys just were off. They didn't have a good match at all. The next match, which was the Rockers and Bushwhackers against the Nasty Boys and Beverly Brothers, I thought that the Rockers were extremely good, and I thought that the Nasty Boys were good, and that was the best match on the show, but. It wasn't spectacular. You know, I mean, if you took the Rockers out of that match, it would not have been a good match. And then the last match, it was again there's nothing wrong with that Legion of Doom match, but I don't think there was anything particularly good about it either.
Well, I enjoyed the Beverly Brothers, Nasty Boys, Rockers, Bushwhackers the best. I just, like you said, the Rockers were certainly they are great wrestlers. And even last night at the Garden against the Nasty Boys, it was a very exciting match. And the split up of the Rockers looks pretty imminent, and that's another thing that I really don't agree with, because they're both great wrestlers in their own right singly, but as a tag team, it's hard to find a team that's better than that technically in the ring, and just as fast and just as skilled as they are.
Yeah, they were a great team to watch, and they had the good double team moves and all that. But well, we'll get to see though. They may turn out. I mean, you know, Shawn Michaels may turn out to be the best wrestler in the entire WWF as a single.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know yet because he's never really worked as a single, really his entire career. Because as soon as he, you know, the first time he made his name was with Jannetty in the AWA, and Jannetty's improved a lot since they went together, and they could very well and probably should have the best matches in the entire promotion if they wrestle against each other, and if Michaels is as a villain is working with some good guys who can really wrestle, or Jannetty is a good guy working with some villains who could really wrestle in a program afterwards, after they run their course, that also could be some great wrestling. And as far as the tag team thing goes, I guess the replacement team, so to speak, is Owen Hart and Jim Neidhart, which I think it's too bad that they didn't give Owen Hart a better partner, because if they had brought Owen Hart in with, say Chris Benoit, they would have, come in with a team every bit as, potentially as good as the Rockers, and still had, those two guys to work singles, and it would have been a real solid addition.
Yes, indeed. Well, I'm just looking forward to Owen Hart back, and hopefully he'll show us some exciting wrestling, as he's proven all over the world. So we're looking forward to Owen Hart coming in.